On to Talk of the Nation. The recent retreat of members of the National Resistance Movement at Kyankwanzi has once again highlighted a persistent feature of Uganda's governance, the close alignment between party decisions and state action. Now, this convergence invites renewed debate on whether the country's constitutional framework can sustain a meaningful separation between political party structures and the functioning of the government institutions. And now joining me in this conversation is Emmanuel Wepukhulu, the MP-elect, Bulambuli Constituency. Good evening to you, Honourable, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening, and good evening to all viewers, and I'm glad to be here again.
You have just returned fresh from Kyankwanzi.
Yes.
And oftentimes the NRM and government resolutions are inseparable. And so while you were there, what is the relevance or the influence of the party retreat when it comes to national interests?
Thank you very much. I want today to clarify, to firmly clarify some of the national discourse that has been going on, especially in Uganda. That party ideology is being the milestone or the cornerstone for political decisions in this country, which is not very true. I was in Kyankwanzi, it was my first time. And of course, probably I had different perceptions before going there. And then when I go there, I find that NRM as a party, we also invited other MP-elects, some from different parties. I think you're aware we had the Honorable Norbert Mao, who is affiliated to DP. We also had many independents, actually about 100 of them, and they also came in for the same deliberations. And it's not about only strengthening the party ideology, but also things of national interest. So I still want to clarify to Ugandans, to all viewers, that decisions that were made in Kyankwanzi, yes, they are party decisions. All members who attended, we picked different ideologies, and then we are going to bring them to Parliament, subject to scrutiny, subject to voting. In Kyankwanzi, for example, we have not come up with the decision of the Speaker, as most people are saying. We are just going to come up with candidates who will come to Parliament and then compete. And they will also compete with members of the opposition if they can go into it. But only what NRM has done differently, we have mobilized across the country and had the majority of NRM party members. That's about 355 members of the NRM. That means if we went into voting, nobody would want to vote someone from another party ideology, because you will therefore discourage or you will put us off route to the vision that is possessed by the NRM. But if we also have good qualities, by the way, if you know the DP president has been put in a position of Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Because, why? Because he has capabilities in that field. And then we have placed other independent candidates in the state governance, you know.
But the candidates you're talking about, the independent candidates, these are those that are leaning towards the ideologies, towards the mandate, or towards the beliefs of the NRM party.
No, we have had the MP-elect for Bulambuli West, that's Honorable Welishe Christ. He is FDC, independent but FDC leaning. And I think through that, other members were coming from other parties. So it's not necessarily that all MP-elects who were, independent elects who went to Kyankwanzi were NRM. Others were from different parties. But trying, and I think I saw somebody or even the president, one of the resolutions in Kyankwanzi, we said in the future we would want to see that more members, if not all MP elects, can go to Kyankwanzi, because Kyankwanzi is not an institution for NRM. It is an institution for the government of Uganda. It is a national leadership institute. Even everybody is whoever feels like he can join in and then get trained in terms of national patriotism, national ideology, national vision, and then we welcome all ideas and then across the globe.
Let us talk about the most controversial issue that occurred while you were there. That was the president's announcement of a cash reward, or I would like to term it as the cash bonanza, to to the different members of parliament, and perhaps that is what actually sparked this debate. From the MPs that you have mentioned, those from different parties, independents, opposition, were they also part of this cash bonanza that the president was giving out?
Yeah, if you can ask some of the members who remained behind for the Wednesday range shooting, when we went to the range to practice on how to operate a gun and shooting, the president later on clarified that all MPs will get those, both the opposition, independent, and the NRM.
Regardless of whether they attended the Kyankwanzi?
Yes, whether they attended or not. And this comes, for example, to the management of NTV, but let me use any other institution. For example, Stanbic Bank. If the CEO of Stanbic Bank comes out and then says, all my employees, I'm going to give them a cash prize for each and every employee, regardless of your performance levels, whether they are best performing or not, could that be a crime? Most people were quoting it like he is using taxpayers' money.
Isn't he?
He is not.
What makes you so sure that he's not using taxpayers' money?
He took us, first of all, to the farm. And then he told us that that his father in 1980 left for him about 80 cows, 80 heads of cattle that he has been looking after. And the President Museveni has been around for a very long time. He has been working, earning a salary, yeah. And what I think it was from his own so far, he should be also a business person.
But in the declaration,
and if somebody says it is public funds, we have institutions across Uganda. We have the IGG, we have all areas of accountability, ministries. Let them call upon the president.
Honorable.
And then they can assess him whether the money, if the money came from public fund, it is wrong. But if it is his own money, then there's no problem.
No, other MPs, we've also seen other MPs actually coming out to be so sure, they are so sure that this money is coming from his own pocket. But we did also see that during the declaration of his wealth, he did mention that he does not have that much wealth to himself, and he cannot even raise 300 million shillings. And so from what you are saying and that report, don't you see that one or the other is lying to the country? President
Museveni is also the chairman of National Resistance Movement, NRM party, right? And in that way, NRM also gets money. Like, for example, in the previous general elections or party primaries, every candidate was paying 3 million to register in the party at party level. How much money was that? With about 2,000 MP candidates that registered competing for that card. If you competed, it's good billions of money. So maybe as a chairperson, you are also allowed, like any other head of the party, including NOP, including DP, including UPC. These guys access money, I think even through iPod. So where does that money go?
But Honorable, do you agree that perhaps the timing of this message could have been wrong? Because looking at the current economic situations, very many Ugandans would think that the current priorities of the government, or say of the president, could be misplaced, because there is a lot that is going on People are struggling business-wise.
Yes.
And dishing out, because the 100 million shillings to all the members of parliament, just the NRM alone is a total of about 37 billion shillings in total. Yeah,
myself, I received the 20. And then, okay, maybe they said the balance of the money will be gotten. If there was a chance, for example, you know, Mildred, as leaders, we do a lot. Sometimes we don't want to come on camera, on TV stations, and then show what we are doing. Myself, I pay 18.6 million in Bulambuli Constituency to educate first graders. If that money, the way it was given to me, I've said, it is going to help people in Bulambuli, maybe in the education sector, maybe in fixing a few things here and there, maybe helping the orphans of the mudslide victims. And if there was a chance for me to stand and raise my hand and then say, members, honorable members, we are talking about 37 billion Uganda shillings. If we collectively agreed that, please, let us not all pick the money. Out of 37 billion shillings, we are leaving it. It is going to construct, for example, a specialized hospital. It's going to construct maybe a certain road. It's going to provide, it's going to implement a policy plan for all mudslide victims or mountainous areas, either in Kasese or in Bulambuli, or for climate change action. We have seen floods here in Kampala, I think. Whenever it rains, NTV is a little bit on a raised, but when you go to Lugogo and then other areas, we suffer so many difficulties. If I raised that motion and everybody agreed, it is well and good, we can do that. But it is difficult because people have different problems. And why the president was giving out that money, you call it a bonanza. He was saying, because I detected corruption in parliament. Actually, he made the Honorable Sise Semuju to get up that, please, my daughter, I don't want to see corruption again in parliament. If you leaders are involved in parliament, how about others? How about the followers? How the people were serving? So he's saying, instead of going for corruption, please come and ask through some of us, well-wishers like himself. He knows that most of the MPs are indebted, they are going through different challenges, but please, I'm giving you this as a startup for even maybe to organize for a swearing in ceremony. But even you already have the over 300 million shillings that is waiting for you for the cars. But and I was here on TV, and I want to repeat it. The first time I was hosted here, I said, my 315 million, I'm not going to touch it. It's going for the people of Bulambuli. It's on record, and Chris Higenyi was doubting, but I told him, no, you have very nice cameras. Immediately it lands on my account. Please follow me up, and then you see it's what on record. We've captured that. It's going to serve the people of Bulambuli. And so now that then brings me to the question, what does the separation of political parties and government actually mean in practice itself? Yes, because very many analysts keep on arguing that ruling political parties have too much power or influence over the state. That is across the globe, both in mature democracy, any mature democracy. If you go, for example, in America, we have the Democratic Party. Once it is in power, the way President Obama was, he will align his vision or the manifesto of the Democrats with the state to serve the vision. And because for people to vote for you as a party, they will have to listen to the manifesto. Let me tell you, even in Uganda today, if, for example, DP or Conservative Party took over government, they will use state institutions to align them with the manifesto or the vision they would have been voted by the electorates to drive the country forward. Because first of all, that's why we have to first go for campaigns in Uganda. You saw how President Museveni was moving across the country. You saw how the new people are moving, how the FDC by Honorable Nandala were moving. They were sharing the vision. If they had voted for them, they were going to align that vision, that manifesto, with the institutions of government available. So there is no country you will go to that once they are voted as a party into governance, they are going to work in parallel with the available institutions. If you do that, then what is the use of the manifesto?
But there are countries like Germany and Canada that operate entirely neutrally from political parties aside and their governance. So
if Uganda is not neutral, why do we have a leader of opposition in the parliament of Uganda? Why do we even bring in other leaders from this party to be incorporated into the governance system of Uganda? Why do we have IGG? Why do we have police? Why do we have...
We are talking about the influence, because at the end of the day, even if the opposition is there,
yes,
what power do they have? Do they have the opportunity or the space to exercise their power as the opposition? Or does every decision actually come from the ruling party?
And you know what? If I can cheat for them exams, that means they need to mobilize numbers. Politics is about numbers. If our eyes NRM, we have mobilized more numbers, they are going to take decisions basing on the ideology, the manifesto, and the vision we have as a party. Because that's how we want to take the country. And if, for example, we cited a good leader, do you know why President Museveni or the NRM party has been snatching members, willingly convincing them to join us? We have just been joined by one of highly celebrated lawyers, Yusuf Sivambi. We say, yo, you are very good, please come over, and then we serve together. Because we want to add value, we want to bring knowledge, we want to bring skills to the party. Therefore, if we want to separate, the only secret, if we want to separate the party from institutions, is mobilizing the trust of the people.
All right.
Once they trust you, you will have to govern them according to the vision they have believed in.
Thank you, Emmanuel Wepukhulu, the MP-elect of Bulambuli Constituency on the NRM ticket, getting to explain to us the distinction between, government or party politics and the state. And with that conversation, we stop for a break. When we return, we'll be hearing from